If you love tracing your sewing patterns with our Patterntrace Swedish Tracing Paper, then making a little set of these pattern weights to have in your sewing space is a really handy addition. And in this video, I'll show you just how easy it is to make them. So to make them, you will need some scraps of fabric. For the main body, you'll need one rectangle measuring 8 by 4 inches or 20.3 by 10.2 centimetres. And then for the optional tab at the top, you'll need one piece that is 4 inches by 1.5 inches or 10.2 centimetres by 3.8 centimetres. You'll also need some rice or beans or lentils or something else to fill it up, and some thread as well. I also made a little funnel out of paper to help feed the rice in later. So the first step is going to be pressing over one of the long edges on the main rectangular piece by 1/4 of an inch or 0.6 centimetres. Then you just need to mark the centre point of each edge, either with chalk or by making a crease with your fingers or nail or with the tip of an iron. Then you can prepare the tab piece, so fold and press the long edges of the tab by 1/4 of an inch or 0.6 centimetres, and then press it in half with the wrong sides facing and just top stitch that edge down. Next, you will fold the tab in half, and then you're going to place it onto the unpressed edge of the rectangle just to the side of that centre crease, and then fold the fabric around over it, and you can use a little fabric clip just to hold that in place. Then you will sew around 2 of the edges with 1/4 inch seam allowance or 0.6 centimetres. So just pivot at the corner and then open up that crease line that you pressed before so that you're sewing right to the bottom raw edge of the fabric. Then to create the 3D shape of the pattern weight, you then just need to open it up, and you're going to match the seam that you just stitched with the centre crease marking on the other side of the fabric. So you can just use some fabric clips to hold that in place, and then you'll sew it on the sewing machine, going right from the folded edge, making sure you back stitch at the start and end, and you need to leave a gap in the middle so that you can put your filling into the pattern weight. I would suggest leaving about 4 to 5 centimetres if you can. Then you can press that little seam allowance open just to make it sit a little bit flatter, and repress in those original creases that you did. This just makes it easier to stitch up the pattern weight at the end. Then you will turn it inside out. This bit can be a little bit fiddly. You can use a point turner if you've got one, just to help get the corners a little bit sharper. And then using your paper funnel, you can start pouring in your filling. So I'm just using some rice here, and it can take a little bit of time. You need to sort of shimmy it around and shake it in, and just make sure that you're getting it all right into the corners. Can make a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. And once it's almost full, just give it a little tap and try to sort of angle the funnel into the corners so that you're really filling it right up. I used about 100 grams of rice per pattern weight. So once it's full, you can just hand stitch that little gap closed. I had a double length of thread with a knot at the end, and I used a ladder stitch, just taking as small stitches as I could. This just makes it a bit stronger and less likely that the rice will pop out again. And then once you've knotted your thread, you can cut it off and you're finished. You've made your little pattern weight. So just repeat that process. I would say a set of 6 to 8 is really useful and a super handy addition to your sewing space. For step-by-step photos, you can check out the blog post tutorial. The link is in the description below. And if you fancy getting a hold of some of the Patterntrace Swedish Tracing Paper, the link to get that on our patterntrace.com website is also in the link below too. Thanks for watching.